Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the premium options in the backs today. So the halves, centers, and winger fullbacks. Posted a video yesterday of the forwards, so the hookers, mids, and edges. And I said if you guys like that video, I'd get the backs out either today or tomorrow. And yeah, you guys showed so much love on that one. I think it's just over 1,000 views now, like 1,050, which is my best trending video. So at the moment, I think I've only had 3 or 4 over 1,000 views in the past as well. So yeah, you guys absolutely smashed that out. You seem to really like that one. So I'll get the backs out today. And yeah, we're 3 subs away from 500 now. So yeah, you guys, the support was awesome yesterday. It's always been awesome since I started this channel. I was a bit nervous to start a YouTube channel, to be honest. Never done anything like this, but yeah, you guys show so much love and I do really appreciate everything. Let us know if you are the 500th sub, because that would be cool to see. I won't talk about team lists in this one, but I will just touch on a couple of things because I do believe in transparency and I did get a couple of things wrong. Firstly, Jane Brayley. I was going off Barry Turi's advice that Crossland is the long-term lock this year and Brayley should continue to see that big minute hooker role. At this stage, Crossland's named it hooker, Brayley's back to the bench. So not ideal for us. I obviously put my money where my mouth is, so I did pick him up as well. I do think he still plays 55, 60 minutes. I do expect Crossland to play a bit of lock as well. So Crossland should play 80 minutes if you do have him, firstly. But yeah, I would expect Brayley to come on at around the 25, 30 minute mark and then play the rest of the game. We saw last week, I think he played 62 minutes and pumped out a 58. So that had a try save, but it also had 50 tackles. So I do expect him to score well still, but I wouldn't play him if you don't have to. I've got Cook there, potentially bringing in Watson, whatever. Like I can shuffle some stuff around, like move Clark there. So for me, I won't be playing Brayley. I was never going to anyway. He's got a -2 break even or something, I believe, anyway. So he did already make us 50K or something. And yeah, -2 break even. So even with a 40, he'll still have a couple of weeks of cash generation. But yeah, it's probably looking like you'll have to get off him a little bit sooner than we maybe expected, maybe before that round 21 bye. I did talk about it that I was happy, even if it was short term, because I knew he would produce at keeper level scores when he was playing in that role, and then when he didn't, it'd be time to offload him anyway, and his cash generation potential was good in the short term. Obviously, I didn't do it knowing we'd only get 1 week, but I probably still would have brought him in, to be honest, like knowing that he got a 58 last game and he's got to make some more money this game. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out, but I did get that one wrong, so hands up there. The other one, I thought Egan Butcher was going to be the starting edge, to be honest, for Siwa Wong, but it looks like Fiketti was the number 1 option there. Maybe just based on how he played last week. Egan Butcher did come off with a concussion, so that might have played a factor. But yeah, I put my hand up. I did say Fiketti was the worst of him, Steep, and Butcher, and he was clearly the best. Well, sorry, last week he clearly scored the best, and this week he's kept that role. So it was good to see most people got Fiketti anyway. I think he was 35% picked up in the top 1,000, but if I did steer you in the wrong direction there, apologies. Yeah, I really wanted Steve. It didn't work out. A couple of people have asked if you should hold him. I don't know what his break even is. I don't actually know if it's updated or not yet. Maybe it has now, I think. Yeah, it looks like it has with a 22 score. Yeah, I do expect him to score decently, but he's not going to make much cash. But he should still score well off that bench. So I'd probably keep him this round, see what those minutes look like. His break even isn't disastrously high, so you can wait and see. And if he gets like a 30, 35, then you can trade him out. If you don't have to play him, I wouldn't, because I think he's back to the bench as well with Radley back. But yeah, that was always going to be the case, more than likely. And I still thought it was a good option. So yeah, I'd probably keep him this week, but don't play him if you don't have to. Haas has been named, which is good, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how he gets through Origin. And a lot of the Origin guys are named on the extended bench. So yeah, there's not really much point talking about team list this week. Apart from that, just I wanted to put my hand up there. But yeah, I'm still bringing in Cleary at this stage. I'm going to have to work my trades around. I'll trade him for Garrick, I think, I guess they're both on a bye, so I can sort some stuff out there, but I'll have to sort out Jaden Campbell, like move him up and down throughout the week. We should have news before their game. What time do they play on Sunday? They are the last game, or the second last game, which is annoying, but yeah, I guess Jaden Campbell plays last, so that's good. What outside backs do I have playing? Yeah, I guess I can loop Drinkwater and stuff, so I should be able to get Cleary in, assuming he plays, but yeah, obviously we will see how people go in Origin tomorrow night and see how those team lists change, and we should get word at least 24 hours out, if not earlier, as to which guys are backing up. Haas, I'd probably say he's 50-50 to play. But yeah, I assume he's going to play Origin. There's talks that he might be out, but yeah, I can't see it. But if he does play, it's going to be tough playing another game in 4 days. What sounds like if he's in doubt for Origin, it seems weird that he would play, especially against the Titans who are last. We'll see. I'm hoping he plays, but it does make it a little bit tricky because I don't think I have a mid on the bench. So I might have to bring one in just in case. Because, yeah, I mean, I could do it for Yo, but then yeah, we'll see. I'll talk about this stuff later. Yeah, I'll get into the main part of the video now. So the premium options, I've got halves, halves center and winger fullback. If you guys seem to have an appetite for this sort of video, so if you want to see one over the next couple of days as well, either tomorrow, I think Thursday, I'm pretty jam-packed. But I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I can do one for the non-premium options, like the keepers or borderline keepers, and I can rank them for you. And yeah, we can just get that out because you guys seem to like that. And that is probably a better option than just a buy, hold, sell video this week anyway. So yeah, I might just get that one out for you anyway, even if you don't tell me you like it. Because yeah, you guys smashed it out yesterday, so that's chill. If you didn't see yesterday's video, I'll briefly go over this, but I'm sure most of you are returning from that one. But yeah, these are my order that I rank them in. So I do think Campbell's the best, Katoa's the worst. That is controversial. I'll get into all this later. I'm just explaining at the moment. Current average and dollar per point, that's available on the NRL app, NRL Fantasy app, sorry. The projected average is what I project them to score from round 19 to the end of the season. It doesn't factor in their already, like their 15, 16 game sample size already. So obviously if that were the case, I wouldn't project Campbell at 64 because there's no way. He'd have to average like 75 from this point onwards to get that. So it's just in the 8-9 games they have left. And that's my personal projection. So take it as gospel, take it as a grain of salt. Up to you. This is how I project them. This is how I will be ranking them moving forward and to see who I want in my team. Yeah, it doesn't factor in dual position. So someone like Campbell I have put in winger fullback as well to assess him against the winger fullback options. But the fact his dual doesn't make him a better option than Hughes. Like I'm treating it as if they were both pure halves as well, because obviously team construction is going to play a factor into what positions you need and stuff like that, but it doesn't affect my tier list essentially. Yeah, we'll jump into it. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, you would have seen yesterday's video most likely anyway, so it should make sense. But yeah, Jaden Campbell is number one. This halves list is a little bit controversial. Obviously, Isaiah Katoa is the number one half apart from Cleary, because I'm not including must-haves in this as well, by the way, and Cleary is obviously a must-have, so yeah, he would be number one by a country mile, but he's not on this list. But yeah, Katoa is the number one half apart from Cleary, and I've listed him 4 on this list. It is controversial. You might not agree with it, and that's totally fine. It's a lot to do with the price point. Like he's 70k more expensive than these guys. He does have a buy. This list is on the fact that Jamal Fogarty has 1 buy remaining. So he has 2, but this list is for bringing players in. It's not if you already have them. So if you don't have Fogarty, you'd be looking at him after this week, not to buy this week, since he has a buy in round 19. So on paper, he has 2 buys remaining, but when you bring these guys in, it will be like if you're getting Fogarty, it will be after this round. So he has 1 buy essentially from the time you buy him. So that is where he'd rank now. If we're using it as 2 buys, then yeah, he's clearly the lowest, and Katoa into 3rd. Yeah, it's a lot to do with the price, but also I do have Katoa coming down slightly compared to his season average so far, and the rest all increase by a considerable margin. Jamal Fogarty slightly, but still a little bit more. So I'll get into them one by one, and Jaden Campbell is clearly the standout. He's 7 points better in my projections than the other guys, and 64 sounds crazy, right? Like it is pretty optimistic, I guess, and this list doesn't have to do with optimism or pessimism. I've got him in my team. That doesn't play any factor. You look last year, and he played 5'8", not halfback. He averaged 57.5, right, with 168 kick meters. This is going to be a bit fidgety. I might actually get another tab open for him because I'm flicking between halfback and 5'8". So bear with me as that loads, because that's going to be a lot easier to look at. We'll get into his 70-plus minute games. See, he averages 59.1 this year with 460 kick meters. So that's about 10 points better because it's 300 kick meters more, and you get 30 meters is 1 point. So yeah, he's 10 points better than that. He averaged 57.5 last year, so plus those 10 points of kick meters, and that's 67.5. His tries are the same. I'm trying to remember what I boosted him. His tackle count is up by 2.2. His tackle breaks are slightly down. His run meters are up though, and his tackle breaks are down. So with more run meters, you're expected to get more tackle breaks, and it's not always the case, but if he's running more, I do expect him to get more tackle breaks, and that's currently down. His missed tackles are down with more tackles, so maybe that goes a little bit down. His offloads are down by 0.8, and you'd probably expect that to get somewhere closer to last year's level. And then his errors are up by 1.2. So if you're looking at last year where he averaged 67.5 essentially with these kick meters that he's getting this year, I've downgraded him 3 points on that, but most of these I expect to increase. Like I expect his offloads to increase, I expect his tackle breaks to slightly increase, his errors to go down. So he could easily average more than 65. And I think 64 is a reasonable projection based on that. So yeah, it looks optimistic on paper, but I actually don't see many worlds where he averages less than at least mid 60s and is priced at 50. So absolutely crazy price point. If you don't have him, like this ownership will increase massively, but it should be close to 100%. And I have him far and away the best half. And he's also a winger fullback dual, doesn't have any buys. And yeah, like he is not injury prone, but he's had a concussion a couple of weeks ago. He had that syndesmosis injury. He's a smaller body, like a smaller frame. So yeah, he's going to be more prone to injury, but that's about the only negative I can think about him. I started the year with him and I expected him to get low 60s, and that pretty much came to fruition. He's had a couple of low scores coming back from injury, but yeah, apart from that, he's been awesome. Where is this year? Yeah, that's this year. So yeah, I think 64 is a reasonable projection, even though it looks kind of outlandish based on what he's currently doing. And yeah, I don't know. But at 50, he's priced at 50 points, and I expect him to average 64 with no buys. He has to be the number one option by a country mile for me. Jerome Hughes is second on this list. And yeah, on paper, this doesn't make sense either. Like Jamal Fogarty's the same price, and I project him to average 2.5 more points. But he has the bye, which is a considerable metric for me because you have to think about who your 18th man is or your third half, I guess, who's going to come into that position for him. And if that's someone who's averaging 40, 45, that goes into their score. So if Hughes plays 8 games and averages 54.5, if Fogarty plays 8 games at averaging 57 and then his replacement scores a 40 for you, that 40 is built into his average. So the fact he has 1 and essentially 2, because you're going to have to wait another week to get him, so you're going to have to play someone who's going to average 40, 45 or whatever it is. That's 2 scores that are built into his average. So yeah, that puts Hughes above him for me alone. But also, Fogarty's sample size is a little bit smaller. I'll get into him, but he played about 8 or 9 games with Ethan Strange in 5/8 last year, and he averaged 60, but he's averaging 55 in a greater sample size this year. So I've sort of balanced between the two, but yeah, like we know he's about a 55 guy this year, and I boosted him from that. He did have a game where he didn't take kicks coming back from the injury, but we know Hughes' upside. Like he averaged 60 last year. Yeah, he's been well down this year, but he clearly is coming back into form. And he just has that upside. And with a small sample size of games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games left, you want to bank on that upside as well because his range is going to be so much higher. Yeah, his floor is lower than Fogarty for sure. Not even close really, because Fogarty seems to always pump out that like 50 to 55 score. But yeah, I'm banking on Hughes' form to continue. Like he's been awesome the last month or so. Those kick meters are hugely up. And I projected him with those same kick meters, like 3. I think I gave him a little bit of a boost, but it was 345 last year, 340. Yeah, so no, I actually kept it the same. But most of the stats I do expect to increase. He's down 2.3 tackles on last year. I expect that to increase. His run meters are down by 36, but over the last month he's had 3 games of 100 plus, so I gave him a slight boost there. His try count is getting better now. His tackle breaks are down by 1.4, but I guess that's expected when his run meters are down so highly, but if I expect that to increase, I expect his tackle breaks to increase as well. I can't remember exactly how I ranked him at 54.5, but I didn't even go down past 2024, but I think 54.5 is about right. I do have a way of doing this. Like I take their base and then what I roughly expect them to average based on the last 2 seasons, but off the top of my head, I'm not going to remember all these things. I probably could write them down, but I don't know, it sort of takes away. I don't know, maybe I should do that next time, but yeah, just rest assured I got to 54.5 in a precise way. And I think that's a fair projection. He averaged 60 last year. He's clearly not going to average 47 this year, you'd hope. I mean, he had a few injury games as well. I think he's averaging 46.9. No, sorry. He's averaging 49 in games playing 80 minutes as well. So yeah, even that's a slight boost. So I think 54.5 is very reasonable, but he has that massive upside that someone like a Fogarty doesn't. Fogarty, I gave him 57 based on the reasons I just said. Like his sample size last year was 60, average of 60 with Ethan Strange in the team from 8 or 9 games. His kick meters are slightly down this year, which I expect to potentially go back up. He's only scored 2 tries. He didn't score a try last year. That's crazy. And still averaged 55 without a try. So that's crazy. That's hopefully not going to continue. Like you'd expect him to score a try or 2. His tackle count's slightly up. His tackle count slightly down. Yeah, again, I can't remember exactly how I got to this projection, but I think 57 is fine. It's about in between last year and this year with Strange at 5'8". And yeah, I do expect him to average around about there. So he's the 3rd best half, or tied to third best with Katoa behind Campbell and Cleary. But just with those 1 or 2 buys, it does make it tough. Isaiah Katoa, this guy is like impossible to project, right? He's been awesome this year, like incredible this year. We'll go 70 plus minutes just in case. But he's averaging 58 this year. He averaged 43 last year and then 30 the year before, and they're all in the halves. He's young. He's obviously the dominant half now where he wasn't previously, but I found it so hard to project him at a 58 average just based on his his historical stats. And honestly, historical stats haven't meant a whole lot this year. Well, obviously, we've got guys like Hughes, like Ponga to a degree, Walsh, Tommy Turbo based on their historical stats, and they're starting to come around to like that underpriced keeper or like borderline keeper status. But yeah, like as a whole, sample size hasn't meant much. Sorry, not sample size. Historical data hasn't meant a whole lot this year. So maybe it doesn't with Katoa. And yeah, again, he's not going to be down to 43 in any degree. Like he scores in so many ways, but he's also not a goal kicking half, and that is tough to average high 50s, especially every game. His missed tackle count is slightly creeping up this year. Not this year, over the last couple of games, sorry. It was 3.1 last year. I do think that goes down slightly. So that goes up slightly to about 3.4, 3.5. So that's about 0.6 less, lowered his projection by 0.6. And yeah, what was the other way? His offloads are up heaps. Like everything's up heaps, to be honest. I really should start to write this down because I don't know how I got to these projections, but I think 57 is fair. Like he's obviously having a standout season. The Dolphins are missing so many forwards though, so there's going to be games where they do get blown out or lose by a considerable margin, and he doesn't have that projection for attacking stats, but he does find so many ways to do it. If they're getting dominated, he probably has increased kick meters. So yeah, I do project him high 50s anyway, and I will potentially look to bring him in. It doesn't consider what their future break even is, what their future price point is. So if he comes back to the pack and he's like 700k, he'd be the 2nd best guy on this list. If he does have a buy still in round 21, so if we're looking at round 22 onwards, where he might be a little bit cheaper, he doesn't have any buys, so the same as these guys, and yeah, he'll be probably the 3rd best half behind Campbell and Cleary that you want. It just all depends on your team construction when you're looking to bring these guys in, and at this current point, he's the least priority of these guys for me. But yeah, again, after that buy, or if he comes down to in price and these guys go up, then yeah, he'll move up this list by far, because at the end of the day, you do want the premium options. You do want the guys that are going to score the best. But Hughes at 70k cheaper, or even Fogarty at 70k cheaper, who project around the same amount of points. For me, at the moment, it has to be one of these guys. And yeah, Campbell is far and away the best option here. Hughes the next best. But yeah, buys are a heavy consideration as well. Moving on to the centres. So we talked about Beau Fermor last video in the edge position, but I do like to put them against the other centres as well, because he's going to rank differently and you're going to look for these guys in different positions. So yeah, I think it is worth mentioning them. Like I've got Campbell in the winger fullback as well. Kiraz is first on this list, Herbie number 2, which is tough because I will be bringing in Herbie as well. I do have Kiraz and Fermor in my team, so I mean that kind of skews it a little bit. But Herbie's very expensive, and that is a lot of money to pay for a true centre. He's 150k more than Kiraz, and Kiraz is averaging close to 60 on the wing already. A lot of this has to do with the price. Again, Herbie's the only one with a buy here, so that does factor in as well. Because yeah, if you're replacing with a centre and you don't have Kiraz and Fermor, which a lot of you won't, because Fermor's only like 15% owned. I guess you have Dylan Lucas as well, but yeah, you might not be, like, even Dylan Lucas averages, 8 less than Herbie, so you're going to be replacing him with someone considerably worse. So that buy does factor in a lot with Herbie, as opposed to the halves where you have Campbell and Cleary as well, who are reasonable cover or very decent cover, whereas Herbie, there's no one like him at the moment in the centres. So yeah, Kiraz is number 1 on my list, but it is close with Herbie because, again, there's a lot of value that you can't really define the value of having the best player in their position on this list, but it is a considerable consideration in fantasy. Kiraz, he's played 1 game in centre, but apart from that, he averages only 56.5 this year, sorry, not 60. He averaged 51.2 last year and then 38 before that. But so you're probably wondering how on earth I got to a 60 projection. And that's fair enough. I might pause this video if I cannot remember off the top of my head because, yeah, 60 is quite an outlandish prediction, but there was a way that I got there. Let's have a look. So I've talked about it in a few times. There's a massively increased offload count across the NRL this year, and the guys that are like premiums in that category, like Herbie, Kiraz, Marzu, Haas, it hasn't gone down. At the start of the season, I thought, yeah, that's going to come back to earth, like a month of sample size or even less isn't enough, but yeah, Kiraz has clearly gone on with it. Someone like Herbie is even increasing that lately. He's had like 6 and 7 back-to-back apart from last week. So yeah, like I do project that to stay, and he's at 4 this year and 2.2 last year. So that's 1.8. Most of them go to like 3.9 out of 4 go to hand. So what's that? 1.8 times 4. So 7.2 points above last year. So that already gets him to a 58.4. His tackle breaks are also up by 2.1, which is skewed by a 14 and a 12 there. The rest are under that. But his run meters are slightly down. So I put that at about 5. So a 0.8 increase from last year, so 1.6. And that gets him up to 60. I do expect the rest of it to continue. He's averaging 56.5 and he's only scored in 2 games this year. And one of them was a hat-trick, granted, but that's 4 tries in 8 games, whereas last year he was averaging 0.7 a game. He's already up to 60 without those tries increasing. So he could even average over 60, in my opinion, but just based on the tackle break going down and the off... Oh, sorry, wait, no, that's wrong because I counted the tackle breaks going up, sorry. Yeah, so it's about a 57 projection, and then you increase his tries slightly, and that's how he gets to 60. So messed that one up. Again, I'm not going to remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I think a 60 projection is fair enough. If his tackle breaks go down, his offloads stay the same, and his tries go up slightly. That gets to 60 alone. And then if the tries go up, the line breaks go up. And yeah, he averaged 1 last year, 0.5 this year. So yeah, I can easily see him getting to 60. He's a more valuable dual position, which doesn't factor onto this list, but it factors in real life. In like real life fantasy. Oh my God, I almost choked there. Like Beau Fermor was a centre edge dual as opposed to a centre winger fullback. And edge, we have so many strong candidates already, whereas winger fullback is a little bit more tough. There's not as many premium options. So yeah, that dual is a lot more essential than Bo Fermor's, and Herbie obviously doesn't have it. If Kirez and Herbie were the same price point, Herbie destroys him on this list, even with a bye and even with only a 1.5 difference in projection, because at the end of the day, there are projections, and having an adequate sample size is the most important thing, right? Like, Kirez has never averaged 60 on the wing. I'm projecting to average 60 based on my metrics that I believe will continue, like his stats that I believe will continue, maybe some trend back to earth, some increase. But at the end of the day, Herbie's averaging 63.6, and there is massive value in that. I just like to look at how they're going to get to those points. Oh, why do I bow here? How they get to those points and how I project that to continue in the future. So yeah, you're not going to agree with all of these. Some of them do sound ridiculous on paper, but yeah, only time will tell if I'm right or wrong. And honestly, it's not a big enough sample size to know if I am going to be right or wrong. I could nail every single one of these to the dot, but it doesn't mean I was right. It just means in this sample size, I was correct. If you extend that to 20, 30, 40, 60 games, it's going to have varied results. Yeah, like it's just not a big enough sample size to find out, but that's what I'm going with anyway. Herbie, clearly the most expensive center on earth. Like, that is ridiculous. I can't believe I even want to bring this guy in, but I can't watch another Dolphins game without him. Yeah, like, does he continue at 63.6? Probably. He's a freak, but he's never done this before. Like 40 at the Broncos, 47 at the Broncos, 55 last year with 110 in his score. That's crazy. And then 63.6 this year. His offloads aren't actually ridiculous. Like 2.6, I expected that to be way higher. He seems to offload the ball every run he goes on. But yeah, I probably do expect that to increase a little bit, to be honest. There's no way he's had games without offloads. That's crazy to me. It seems like he gets one all the time. Maybe I'm just such a Herbie hater because I never got him in. Yeah, so I do expect that to slightly increase. His tackle count is higher than previously by 3, and his missed tackles are down. So that probably comes back to earth a little bit. His run meters are the same as last year, but they're increased by 1.1 tackle breaks. So maybe that goes down a little bit, but probably not because he is more dominant this year. And yeah, like that, this sample size is big enough for me to expect that to stay at 6.4. Whereas someone like Kirez, he's played, what, like 9, 10 games this year on the wing, even less. So that has more room to move. His tries are up by 0.2, and I do expect that to come down to earth a little bit. He obviously went on this freak run of tries, and yeah, it's just not going to continue every game. I know the Dolphins are overachieving at the moment, but I do expect that to wear thin through a few games this year just because they're missing so many forwards and they're resilient as hell, but it has to come down to earth. So I've only put him down to 61.5. He could easily outscore that. His worst score is what, like 45 this year? 48. He's had one game under 50 as a true center. Like, that's crazy stuff. We've never seen this before from a center, but the way offloads are counted this year, or like the last couple of years, where you get 4 for an offload to hand, does increase outside backs' value, and especially those massive offloaders like Kiraz, Marzu, and stuff like that. So yeah, I do expect him to come down to earth a little bit in some of these stats, especially the tackles and missed tackles. But the rest of it probably stays true, if not slightly increases. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. He does have a bye remaining, which makes it tougher than a Kiraz, but I mean, you probably want both of them at the end of the day, and I will be bringing them both in. What was Herbie at the start of the season? So yeah, 734K. So what was I thinking, not bringing him in? But yeah, anyway, Bo Fermor, I'm not going to talk about because I discussed him in yesterday's video. He's averaging 60 at edge this year. He averaged like 50 last year. So most of his stats I do expect to continue, but he has to come down to earth a little bit. He's a very cheap price point, but these two are clearly the two premiums in this position. And I think you can't really go without both of them. And if you are, like, you're going to get Kirez over Fermor. I think Kirez is very highly owned anyway. But both of those two are. You just need them both, essentially, if you can. Moving on to winger fullback. So yeah, I do have Campbell on this list. I'm not going to talk about it again, but yeah, he's the second best winger fullback for me in terms of projected points. And yeah, if you thought some of the other predictions were crazy, I think you're going to hate this Latrell one at 65. But yeah, it is what it is. Not going to talk about Kiraz as well. And you can see he's first on the list in the other one, but he's third on the list here. So yeah, I'm not just biased in my projections. I have included Drinkwater on this list. He's not necessarily a premium. Yeah, well, by any degree, he's not a premium, but I do think he's the fifth best winger fullback. Maybe that could be argued with Nwangani Tuase and players like that. But yeah, he made my list. I wanted 5 here. I just wanted some other guys to talk about because Kiraz and Campbell aren't on the list. But yeah, I think his price point as well makes him one of those guys you are going to target as a premium winger fullback just because the price point is so different and you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere. But yeah, Campbell is the number one guy as well, even though I do project him to score less than Latrell. He's also considerably cheaper and he has no buys remaining. So, and has that dual, which does help at the end of the day, even though it's not factored in here. But yeah, Latrell, we're not looking at him this week. He's not very highly owned, so not many people have him at all. Again, that buy is this round, so he has one true buy from the time we purchase him. And yeah, 65. So let's get into that because that, yeah, it sounds crazy. The big value in him this year is those kick meters. And yeah, I don't know why he's kicking that many. Like 437 meters when you have Jamie Humphries in the team seems ridiculous the way Humphries was kicking at the start of the year. But I mean, that trend has only increased. Like he had a few games of sub 300 and now he's just kicking 600, 600, 400. I do expect that to stay somewhat true. And if it doesn't, if you don't expect him to get that many kick meters, then yeah, he's not going to average 65 in your projections or any world. But I have to factor that in. It didn't work out for me with Drinkwater. I thought he was going to kick 200 plus meters, and that's why I had him close to a 60 projection earlier in the year. And you can see that's fallen off a cliff now. But yeah, like that didn't continue. So maybe it doesn't continue with Latrell. I'm not always right, but in my projections, I'm basing it on 430 this year. And the sample size isn't big, so it could be anything, but that's what I'm doing anyway. Last year, he averaged 60 with 147 kick meters. So that's essentially 10 points again of kick meter increases. So if he had those kick meter, like the kick meters he has this year in 2024, he would have averaged 70. And I've got him at 65. So I expect the other stats to come down a little bit. But, yeah, this is how I did Latrell. So he averages 46 in base this year, I believe. Sorry, not base, but apart from kick meters. Yeah, it's 46. Last year or the year before, it was 53. Yeah, sorry, this year it was 53 in 2023 because he didn't kick at all. Last year it was 56. So I think that works out to be a 51 average in base, well, a 51 average apart from kick meters, and that's about 14 points in kick meters as well. So a 51 in base and 14 points in kick meters gets him up to a 65. So that's how I worked him out. I didn't bother deep diving into his stats. Like he's down 2.4 tackle breaks this year. His tries are heavily down, but he's got goal kicking obviously the same. His offloads are down, so he could easily average more than 65, which is crazy to say. But just based on the last 3 years, base stats plus kick meters from this year, I project him at 65. So yeah, it sounds incredibly outlandish, but I do expect him to average 65, if not more. So yeah, as crazy as it seems, he is on this list as a 65 projection and the second best on this list. And yeah, if you can get two winger fullbacks averaging 65 or close to, then that's crazy stuff. And they're clearly the two best options. And what, he's priced at 54 and Campbell priced at 50. So yeah, I'm getting Latrell in next week, absolutely, assuming he comes through Origin fine, assuming he's still playing fullback. And yeah, they're the two guys that you really need in winger fullback because, I mean, Kiraz you'll probably play at centre and the rest are just considerably worse. So yeah, Latrell is a must-have in my opinion. I don't use the word must-have lightly. It's usually reserved for like Terrell May, Payne Haas, Nathan Cleary, but yeah, given how much stronger Latrell and Campbell are in winger fullback compared to their other options. And yeah, I do think they're must-haves. Kiraz is third on this list. Again, no buys. I project him at 60, which is considerably lower than these guys. And yeah, he's only 27k cheaper than Latrell, but averages 5 less in my opinion. So Latrell's a pretty heavy standout, even with the buy above him. Tedesco averaging 54.3. He was another one that's kind of hard to project as well. His historical data is kind of all over the place. 54.3 this year, 57.6 last year, then down, but then it goes back up to crazy stuff. So I think 57.5 is reasonable to project. He didn't score a try for his first 7 games, which leaves him at a 0.4 average. He scored 1 in 4 out of 5 games recently. But yeah, I do expect it to come back similar to 0.7 from last year, maybe around the 0.5, 0.6 mark, but even that is quite a heavy increase of like 1.6 or 3.2 points. So that alone, if you increase it by 3.2, that gets him to 57.5 as is. His offloads are slightly up this year, from 0.3 to 0.7, but he's only had 2 games, I believe, without an offload. Sorry, 4 games without an offload this year, which out of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 4 out of 15 games without an offload. So 11 out of 15 he has had one. So yeah, I don't expect that to decrease. If anything, I do expect it to increase. So yeah, he could easily average more than 57.5. His run meters are the same and his tackle breaks are down. His tackles are down. So that's sort of out of his control. It's about how the team plays. But yeah, his line breaks are the same. His line break assists and try assists are down. So yeah, just with the increase in tries alone, he's getting to 57.5. Then he has other upside. If you're getting tries, you're getting line breaks as well. His tackle breaks probably slightly increased. Offloads maybe slightly increased. But again, that sample size of 15 games isn't too heavy. But yeah, I think 57.5 is pretty reasonable to expect in my opinion. And honestly, I didn't expect him to average that. Oh my gosh, why do I have him again? I didn't expect him to average 57.5. I was kind of surprised by that projection. When I brought him in, I wouldn't have thought he was a 57.5 guy. I had him like as a fringe top 5 guy at the time. So I was hesitant to bring him in, but I brought him in round 15 as opposed to round 12 when I was looking at him originally. I had Drinkwater ahead of him at the time, and now he's 10 points behind. So yeah, I do update my projections. I usually don't go this in depth with them. Like I don't have time to do this every week, especially not for my own team. Like if I wasn't doing YouTube, I wouldn't be this heavily invested. But yeah, like obviously your standard projections are going to change. With Drinkwater, I've talked about this guy 1,000 times. I bought him at 700k because I thought he'd average 55 plus. He was averaging 48.5 last year without goal kicking and without heavy kick meters, and I thought that would get to 200 plus. So with an increase of 3 in kick meters and an increase in about 5.6 in goals, if he averages about 2.8, which I think he does this year, then that alone gets him to 55 plus, about 58 or so. So that's what I was basing it on. But he's clearly worse this year. His kick meters have reverted back to where he averaged last year. Like some of these games he's kicking less than 100 meters. Jake Clifford's back in the team, which doesn't help him. It was better when Purdue was in the team, was in halves. So yeah, I just project him to not average high. I think 47 is a little bit tough on him, but he's not getting as many kick meters this year. Goal kicks this year, because he's not kicking them from the left-hand side anymore. So that 2.8 will come down to about 2, in my opinion. What else did I rank him down on? I think the rest I was pretty fair on. Like he'd average about the same. I can't remember. Yeah, he's averaging 48.4, because he played a 67-minute game, which I don't think it's fair to exclude from his average because he only missed 13 minutes. So yeah, he's averaging 48.4 with about 1.6 down in goals alone. That takes him to a 46.8. But he does have to get some merit for his last couple of seasons as well, where he's averaged more than that. So I think 47.5 is fair. He does have a bye in the last round of the season as well. So most likely, most of us are going to be out of trades by then, and worst case, you'll have one trade. So yeah, someone like a Drinkwater isn't going to be your priority to trade out. So he's probably going to be on your bench or 18th man anyway, but it is a consideration as well. That you're probably going to have to keep him for that bye because, yeah, we won't have trades left. So that's a tough bye to have, to be honest, especially if we have a winger fullback injury or two. So, yeah, he's not a premium. He probably shouldn't be on this list anyway, but I just wanted to give a sort of updated projection because I was pretty heavy in my thinking that he was a 55-plus guy earlier in the season. And, yeah, I bought him in, but that's where I've said he is for most of the year and he's just not anymore. And, yeah, every world he averages more than 50. If he gets those left-hand goal kicks back, if he gets an increase in his in-game kicking, then yeah, he could easily average mid-50s. But at this point in time, those things aren't realistic, and I do expect him to average about 47.5. So that's it from that one. Yeah, I'll probably hopefully over the next couple of days get one out for like non-premium options like your keepers or borderline keepers because yeah, these videos are fun for me, and you guys I've clearly loved the last one. Like the support was crazy. So yeah, I'll get that one out. But otherwise, good luck with your trades. If there's any team list news you want to know or trades you're considering, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. I do try and get back to most comments. But yeah, almost 500 subs. So thank you heaps for the support. If you're still around at the 40-minute mark. So yeah, enjoy guys. Thank you for watching and we'll see you later. Bye.